What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you some Rising Star content today. So I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive into the music promoter application within Rising Star, as well as Starbits. So I figured we could do a deep dive. This is a little bit overdue. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I just have not gotten around to it. And also, to preface this, I have actually not tried this out myself just yet. But what I'm hoping to do, because now that I understand it and explain to you, it's one of those things where whenever you have to teach somebody something, you actually learn it better. So if I can explain this to you, that means that I understand it fully, which is the goal of this video, to go through everything that I've learned, pass it on to you guys. I will give this a try and then probably do a follow-up video, I guess, giving some kind of review, or at least let you know what my experience is like overall. So let's start at the back first. When you do this, you get a token called Starpro, which is the second token for this game, right? There's Starbits and now Starpro, and not now, I think this came out like a year ago, but Starpro is the other coin that you are able to get. And if you go to Hive Engine, you can see here, Starpro has a significantly different value. It is $9.1. Let's see. And I'm curious to see, okay, so the value of Starpro has gone up. Wow. The value of Starpro has gone up significantly in the past 4 months. That's actually kind of crazy to me. So let's go back here and look up Starbits again. So when you look at this, the market cap of Starpro is higher. The volume is not as high. And the supply is clearly not as high as well. So what is Starpro? Let me actually start over here on the FAQ. So when it comes to Starpro, these are tokens that you can bid. I'm sorry. These are tokens that you can use to buy runners. So they're a certain type of card, which also require paying Starpro each time you use them. So I think the ones that come to mind are like the 5-minute missions, like where you can essentially skip a 5-minute mission by paying a little Starpro each time you use them. So runners complete specific missions types for you instantly. Okay, so actually that just explained it. Now Starpro can also be used to do the Festival World Tour missions to get wristbands and Festival band cards. So that seems like it might be a little bit something further down the line, but these do seem like potential burning opportunities for Starpro. So that's something that I need to get confirmation on. I'm still waiting to hear back. So if that is the case, I mean, it should be, then, at least it's, Starpro isn't completely inflationary, because we are now going to dive into what actually happens with Starpro. So let's go back here to Music Promoter. And there's also a detailed post and an accompanying video on YouTube, which I would recommend checking out. If you're interested, I think Jukes, I hope I'm saying that right, Jukes, did a good job kind of going into detail. This is how I learned a lot of it. But what essentially is happening here, and let me just take some of the big highlights from this, is that there is 100 Starpro being paid out every day. Now, this 100 only happens if we hit the minimum threshold of 100,000 Starbits being spent on these missions. Otherwise, if it's less than 100,000, then if it's less than 100,000, then it's correlated or prorated per that 100 Starpro. So if we were only to spend like 50,000 Starbits, well, then 100, or then we'd only get 50 Starpro. But as you can see here, I mean, we are maybe just halfway through the day UK time, and this actually, no, we're a little bit more than halfway through the day, but we're over like 2 million Starbits spent. So I don't think that this is going to be below that 100,000 threshold ever again, right? So maybe they'll change the threshold number, but I don't think we'll ever be below 100,000 again in terms of it being spent. So the maximum that's paid out is 100 Starpro. That comes out every day, which surprised me a little bit, because when you think about it, from a Starpro perspective, Rising Star is printing $900 in value every day. Now, for context, for those of you coming from the Splinterlands world, when DEC is at its peg, it's printing out $1,000 in rewards DEC every single day. So this is a lot from Starpro. There's a lot of money there, which is interesting. And that's not always the case, right? Because Starpro is a dynamic, there's a supply and demand mechanism to it. So obviously 4 months ago when Starpro was only $2, that wasn't, that was significantly less versus the $9 that it's at now. But it is something to think about if you are either trying to speculate on Starpro or you want to earn it. Now, as I talked about in the last video with this, when we look at Starbits being spent here, they are burned. So this is a good burning mechanism for Starbits. And what I wanted to go through is, let's see if I can find it here. No, okay. So we'll go over to the Starbits thing. So this live mission log, it updates every 10 seconds, and it's showing you all of the missions being done across the entire game. So as you can see, there's stuff happening literally every second. Missions are finishing. And when you see a certain promoter here, and a name, it is telling you who is getting the, I guess like who's adding like one to their ledger essentially for getting a promote. We'll call it a promotional point, or we can call it a reward share point, because that's exactly what it is. So as you can see here to the right, you can see that I have a pool of how many Starbits I want or need. Now I have to pull this in, and it's a one-way transaction. So I can't like send Starbits from my main account or Hive Engine. I can't send it back to my main account or Hive Engine. I have to pull it in from my main account, and then it stays here forever. And so when that ends up being the case, I can spend it here on this bottom part. But before we get there, let's stay up here on the top right, and you'll be able to see that whenever I run a mission and I get a reward share point, then this number will be 1 out of whatever the total missions run are. Now, this isn't total missions in the entire game, but total missions on music promoter eligible missions. And so if I were to have 1 out of 16,748, I would get the corresponding percentage share of that 100 Starpro, which would be essentially nothing at this point. But if you start earning a lot more, then you can get higher amounts of Starpro. So as you can see here, this is dominated by an account called Wagonston. And so you can see, oh, actually, look, there's some there's some competition here, which is great because you are bidding essentially when you get to this. So these are the only missions that are eligible for this for the music promoter. And what you can do is you're going to see the mission name. You're going to see who is the current highest bidder. You can see what the highest bid currently is. So when I logged in this morning, Wagonston had all of them at 120. Now it looks like this account, which I'm not going to try and say because I'm just going to butcher it. Now this account has bid 121. So anytime any of these missions happen for however long until somebody bids higher, this account will get it, or Wagonston will get, it for all the remaining missions. So you can see here how many bids I've had. I've had 0 so far, but this is something that I do want to give a try to at some point. And then you see total missions today and total missions yesterday. So it's more so in a sense so that you can see how much potential reward there will be if on average we get almost 9,000 missions on the open mic night, and we're only halfway there, then there could be a lot more open mic night missions, and this might be something worth getting into. Or, for example, right, like this is, well, they're all a little bit less than halfway. Radio interview is more than halfway from where we were yesterday, so maybe I stay away from that, for example. And then full band support, who knows? Like this is only like 40%, 35% of this total, so maybe I jump in there, right? So just something to think about for when you are considering. You have this information to go off of. Now, you can see here the music promoter rewards. It'll show you the most recent Starpro rewards. And as I said, Wagonston is dominating this right now. So, I mean, I don't know who this account is. And Wagonston, if you end up watching this, I don't, I got nothing against you, but I'm hoping that this video will bring more attention and more people into this space. So you may expect some competition in the future from folks who are interested in earning some Starpro. So that is the main thing behind Music Promoter. Now, again, I haven't done this fully myself, and I haven't spent it on any cards for like runners or, the World Tour Festival, which or Festival World Tour, which is something that I don't even, necessarily have. Actually, no, maybe I do have access to. Convert a backstage pass to 1 Starpro on the cards page, or bribe security 1 Starpro to start the mission. Okay, so I'll have to do a little more research into what the festival tour offers, but that's outside the scope of this mission. Just know that when you earn Star Pro, you are able to not just take advantage of the runner cards, but you'll also be able to do the festival world tour. So we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into that. Maybe once I have some Star Pro, we can figure out how to spend it and what value it has overall. So, at the end of the day, what's interesting for me is the amount of value being printed now. And with Star Pro being obviously a more significant asset, that has a burn mechanism, right? So I don't want to say that there's no burning mechanism for it. There is value to spending it. It's just going to be one of those things where I don't know, that festival world mission. Do I want to pay $9? Like, that sounds a little interesting. Like, I'd have to see what the value is if I'm going to take the time to earn one Star Pro, or again, you can buy the Star Pro straight off of the market and then spend it there. So it's interesting that the market has valued it this highly, but this game is still, I want to remind you, is still in a very small, at a small player base. So there could potentially be, right? I don't want to get incredibly bullish here. You guys know that I'm like allergic to hopium. But the game is still relatively small compared to a lot of other PTE projects out there. And we know from, the recent interview with Jukes that there is a lot that, he and his wife try to add to the game whenever they come up with interesting ideas. And again, I love that interview from the passion standpoint. I think it's great that he is, it's like one of those things where, like, I get a little nervous and cautious because, when the tokenomics of something are not thought through, then they can be easily exploitable in certain ways. But at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like that's what he really cares about. He's just trying to, well, he doesn't care about it from, like, designing an infrastructure for the tokenomics. And Jukes, if I'm putting words in your mouth, I apologize. I'm trying to compliment the passion that I'm seeing from you. And so it's about creating a fun game. And so far, this game has been very interesting and a cool way to earn. And at the end of the day, I give so many things a pass because you can start for 100% free. And I feel like the team does a good job of not allowing multiple accounts or bot accounts to exploit in any way. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. If you are using Music Promoter and earning Star Pro, I would love to hear from you what your experience has been. Like I said, I'll probably do a follow-up video once I have a little bit more experience with this, but that's all I have. So have an amazing rest of your day. I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.